The rumor exploded like a match dropped on dry gasoline, racing through Hollywood whispers and social media feeds with a single jaw-dropping question. Is Riley Keough secretly the biological mother of John Travolta and Kelly Preston's son, Ben Travolta? It's the kind of claim that sounds too wild to believe, yet too specific to ignore. Tied to a bitter lawsuit, shadowed by accusations of blackmail, and tangled within one of America's most legendary families, this story has ignited a firestorm that refuses to die down. At the center of the chaos is Priscilla Presley, the widow of Elvis Presley, a woman who has spent decades fiercely guarding her family's privacy. Now, she finds herself responding to allegations that threaten to rewrite everything the public thought it knew about the Presley legacy. The lawsuit doesn't just hint at betrayal or financial disputes. It suggests a hidden family secret involving Hollywood royalty, alleged fertility struggles, and deeply personal decisions that, if true, would shake multiple famous families to their core. The claims surfaced through a lawsuit filed by Priscilla Presley's former business partner, who was suing Navarone Garibaldi, Priscilla's son, for breach of contract. At first glance, the case appeared to be a standard business dispute. But buried within recent filings was a narrative so explosive that it overshadowed the original complaint entirely. According to the allegations, the lawsuit allegedly uncovers a web of secrets connecting John Travolta, his late wife Kelly Preston, Lisa Marie Presley, her ex-husband Michael Lockwood, and Lisa Marie's daughter Riley Keough. The most shocking claim is the suggestion that Riley Keough, granddaughter of Elvis Presley and star of Daisy Jones the Sixth, is the biological mother of Ben Travolta, who is now 15 years old. The lawsuit alleges that John Travolta and Kelly Preston, after struggling to conceive, turned to Lisa Marie Presley and eventually to Riley, believing Lisa Marie's fertility may have been compromised due to years of addiction. It's a claim that sounds almost cinematic, yet it's now written into legal filings, forcing the families involved into an unwanted spotlight. As the internet spiraled, Priscilla Presley's legal team finally responded. Their statement was carefully worded, powerful, and deeply emotional. They did not directly deny the allegation, but they forcefully rejected the intent behind it, stating that the plaintiffs had shown no bar too low and no ethical line they are unwilling to cross in an effort to cause further pain to Priscilla and her family. They emphasized that these recent outrageous allegations had absolutely nothing to do with the actual claims in the case, framing the story as a cruel distraction designed to maximize damage. That lack of a direct denial only fueled speculation. In Hollywood, silence often speaks louder than words, and the public quickly began dissecting every sentence, every pause, every carefully chosen phrase. Why address the cruelty of the claim, but not the claim itself? Was this a strategic legal decision, or a sign of something far more complicated beneath the surface? The alleged connections between the Presley family and the Travoltas are not entirely new. Both families were deeply linked through Scientology, a fact that adds another layer of intrigue to the narrative. John Travolta and Kelly Preston were famously devoted members of the church, while Lisa Marie Presley was raised in Scientology before eventually leaving the organization later in life. Where Riley Keough stands with the church has never been publicly clarified, but her famously private nature has only intensified curiosity. Those who know Riley Keough often describe her as reserved, introspective, and intentionally distant from celebrity chaos. In past interviews, she has spoken about being raised to avoid fame for fame's sake, explaining that her mother, Lisa Marie Presley, did not want her to grow up as a celebrity kid. She was taught to value privacy, to let her work speak for itself, and to protect her personal life at all costs. That upbringing makes the current allegations feel even more jarring, casting her as a central figure in a story she never asked to be part of. According to the lawsuit's claims, John Travolta and Kelly Preston allegedly used Lisa Marie Presley's eggs during a previous pregnancy attempt when they were struggling to conceive. When that reportedly failed and concerns grew about Lisa Marie's health, the narrative suggests the couple turned to Riley Keough, who was allegedly in her early 20s at the time. The lawsuit goes further, alleging that she was compensated with a vintage car and between $10,000 and $20,000, a detail that has sparked outrage and disbelief in equal measure. For many observers, this is where the story crosses from scandal into something darker. The idea that a young woman from a famous but emotionally complicated family could be placed in such a position raises uncomfortable questions about power, influence, and consent within elite Hollywood circles. Yet, it's crucial to remember that these claims remain unproven allegations, presented within a lawsuit whose primary purpose may be financial leverage rather than truth-seeking. The emotional weight of this situation is magnified by the losses already endured by those involved. Kelly Preston passed away in 2020 after a private battle with breast cancer, a loss that devastated John Travolta and their children. Lisa Marie Presley died in 2023, leaving behind unresolved grief and fractured family dynamics. To introduce such explosive claims after their deaths has struck many as deeply unsettling, as those most capable of defending themselves are no longer here to speak. Public reaction has been fierce and divided. Some fans outright reject the story as a baseless attempt to extort money and attention, pointing to the lack of concrete evidence and the sensational nature of the allegations. Others argue that Hollywood's long history of hidden arrangements and secret agreements makes it impossible to dismiss the claims entirely. Social media has become a battleground of theories, timelines, and emotional arguments, with Riley Keough's name trending alongside John Travolta and Priscilla Presley. Industry insiders, speaking hypothetically, note that if such an arrangement were real, it would have required layers of legal protection, confidentiality agreements, and medical documentation. Surrogacy and fertility arrangements among celebrities are not unheard of, but they are typically handled through established medical and legal channels. The lawsuit's portrayal of events, critics argue, lacks the structural safeguards that would normally be present in such a high-profile situation. Still, the damage may already be done. Allegations don't need to be proven to leave scars. For Riley Keough, who recently took on greater responsibility within the Presley estate following her mother's death, this controversy threatens to overshadow her career and redefine her public image overnight. For Priscilla Presley, it's another painful chapter in a life that has already been marked by public scrutiny and private grief. The comparison to past Hollywood scandals is inevitable. Time and again, lawsuits have been used as weapons, with sensational claims inserted to force settlements or shift public pressure. Yet, history has also shown that some of the most unbelievable stories later turned out to hold uncomfortable truths. This tension between skepticism and suspicion is exactly what keeps this narrative burning. As of now, no independent evidence has emerged to substantiate the biological claims. John Travolta has not publicly commented. Riley Keough has remained silent, and the lawsuit itself continues its slow march through the legal system, where facts, not headlines, will ultimately matter. Whether these allegations collapse under scrutiny or reveal deeper secrets remains to be seen. What is clear is that this story is about more than biology. It's about legacy, power, privacy, and the brutal cost of fame. It's about how deeply personal lives can become public battlegrounds, especially when money, grief, and unresolved relationships collide. And it's about a young boy, Ben Travolta, whose name is now tied to a controversy he never chose. In the end, the truth may be far less sensational than the rumor, or far more complicated than anyone imagines. Until the courts decide and credible evidence is presented, this remains a story of allegations, not conclusions. But one thing is certain: once a secret is whispered loudly enough, it echoes forever. And for the Presleys, the Travoltas, and Riley Keough, the echo of this lawsuit is likely to linger long after the headlines fade.